This is Outside the Round with Matt Burrill, a Raise Rowdy podcast.
Madeline Merlo, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Doing well. We were just talking about late red door nights.
Yeah.
They're common.
Yeah.
You can't avoid them.
It's a rite of passage.
It
for
is
sure.
a rite of passage.
Especially when you first move to town and you're just excited and everyone tells you, you got to go out and you got to meet people, which is true.
Yes.
And somehow you're just at Red Door and you're like, I got to find somewhere else to go. I'm here a lot.
Well, it's like, and then you have the friends that are like, let's go to Broadway.
Yeah.
You're like, that's too much.
That's too much. But Red Door is just right.
You got to balance. You
Yeah.
know?
When I first moved to town, I literally lived up the road from Red Door.
Dangerous.
And so I had no excuse. People would be like, I'm like, you have no, just walk down, take you 1 minute. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're right.
You can't say no.
No, I couldn't. And I didn't very often.
How long have you been here in town?
Almost 7 years.
7 years?
Mm-hmm.
No
Yeah,
shit.
I know.
How
Pretty
old were you when you
crazy.
moved here?
23, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Damn. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was 23 when I moved here too.
Yeah.
I actually hit 6 years in October, or later this month will be 6 years for me.
Okay.
So we were
Yeah.
both BC before the pandemic,
Yeah.
before COVID.
No, that's to feel like it kind of, when I first moved, because I moved from Canada. I'm from
Yeah.
Canada. And I still toured and played a lot. So the first year that I moved, I feel like I was barely there because I was playing so much up in Canada. And then COVID happened. And then I was robbed, I feel like a little bit. So I still feel new-ish. I feel like I'm just kind of feeling like home.
Yeah, and you're from
been
the
a lot.
western side of Canada, right?
Yeah, about 30 minutes from the Washington border.
Oh,
Washington State
nice.
border.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vancouver's beautiful, I've heard.
It's insane,
I
yeah.
still have to get to Canada.
You should come.
We just did a Raise Rowdy event on the complete other end out in Prince Edward Island.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I know that's like,
It's just also so amazing over there.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I need to get out of the country though, and I feel like Canada is the first place I got to go.
It's great. It's where I'm from. I'm obviously very biased, but it's just so beautiful. If you love to snowboard or ski, or you like to mountain bike or hike or anything active, like it's just giant trees and mountains and ocean, and it's just really beautiful. And so just growing up in that environment, I feel like I just have such a love for like nature and the outdoors. And I grew up riding horses, just was like outside nonstop, and so it's a very cool place.
Yeah. Was it a big adjustment getting down here to Nashville?
Honestly, so I moved from like literally my mother's basement to Toronto, which is
wow.
Canada's New York City.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was a huge change. That was like the biggest change for me because it was really busy and everyone was honking at me
Yeah.
and, living in like a high rise condo with just a gazillion people and no one smiles or says hello. And so that was like
The
that was-
rudeness of the city.
Yeah, it was a tough transition. I was there, gosh, I think like almost 2 years, and I made like one friend, and it was just hard. And then I packed a U-Haul and then moved to Nashville, and it wasn't like 6 months, and I had tons of friends, and it was just a little bit slower, more friendly. Like the Southern hospitality was
Yeah.
more similar to the small town that I grew up in. So that was a easier transition almost, which is crazy because it's a different country.
Yeah, right. But
Yeah.
but the Southern hospitality is a real thing.
So real. I remember I first moved and I was like trying to back into spot or parallel park, and this woman came out just kind of waving her arms, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, like I can't park here. And she's like, no, you just look like you needed help, which I did, of course. And she helped me park into the spot, and I could not believe it, especially coming from a big city. I was like, this just would never happen in a million years.
Back home in New York for me, that's somebody
Okay.
saying, don't be taking my spot. They're not helping. In
100%.
Toronto, like you
No.
said, very
Yeah.
similar.
Absolutely.
Very similar to it. So you got a lot going on here in the month of October, huh?
October's a good month for your girl, for sure.
Opry debut, EP.
Pretty crazy.
How we feeling about it?
Feeling good. I'm really excited about the EP. I wrote my butt off for this project. I feel really proud of the songs and trying to marry finding my sound with just thought out lyric. And it's clever and it's cool and it's unique and it's very Madeline, which so I'm really proud of that. And then Opry is just like, that's like goes beyond a music thing. That's like a life thing, just dreaming about this career my whole life. To step on the Opry stage is going to be pretty huge.
Yeah, when you say it's very Madeline, what is?
Yeah.
So we're just getting to know each other right
Yeah.
now. What does very Madeline mean? How would you describe what the Madeline Merlo sound is?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a fusion of, obvious country roots with some pop kind of influences, an honest lyric that kind of will take you off guard. But like I said, it just feels clever and well thought out and intentional. Like I think the perspective is what makes this project interesting kind of comes from a different place, looking back a bit and going through all these kind of wild emotions. And then the whole EP ends with, like landing where you're supposed to be with who you're supposed to be with. And so, like I feel intentional.
Yeah, I feel like that's authentic.
Yeah.
And a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
And especially it seems like in the past few years, people are craving real shit.
I think so.
Craving stuff that they can really like. The party stuff is great, and I'm sure there's some upbeat stuff in there too.
Yeah.
But the stuff where you're like, damn, that hit me. I feel that.
For sure. Those are the songs that stay with you, that, really make a lasting impact. And I mean, I'm a music lover first. I think, we all are, especially, if you're moving to Nashville, there's a reason. Usually music is, one of the reasons why you're here. And so just remembering like, oh, these songs made me feel this type of way or feel very heard, or you find your story in it. I think that's the goal of every songwriter, is to get in the room and how can I create the story or write my story and other people can insert themselves into it. Feeling like known and understood, I think, is what is so cool about music.
Yeah. What were some of those songs for you?
Gosh, I mean, so many. I think like Casey Musgrave, Same Trailer, Different Park.
She changed the game, dude.
That whole record,
Yeah.
I was like too stunned to speak. I remember just thinking, this is the coolest. It was clever and just was so honest, and I loved that record so much. It was amazing.
Yeah, she had like a wit to her where you're like, she would just sneak in little lines, be like,
Yeah.
did she just say that as a country
Exactly.
artist? And it was like very ahead of its time.
Just artists that paved their own way. Sam Hunt is another one. Montevello, just like sonically too. I couldn't believe like what I was hearing. I'm like, this is an interpretation of, country music done in a complete new way. And what's cool is that Zach Crowell, who produced that record, he was like at the top of my producer list, and he's my producer now.
No shit.
Yeah, I literally wrote down, I'm a very intentional person with, like for the Opry, I have a bottle of champagne with a sticky note that says Opry debut, and I put it in my house and I have it there, like setting goals and accomplishing them. And I think it's like important to just put that energy out there and have something to work towards. And I would write down like producer lists or, goals, and he was at the top of my list, which is so crazy.
Yeah, what do they call that? Manifesting, right?
Yeah.
I've heard that term a lot.
Yeah.
I've never done it before, but it sounds like something that it's working.
I think it's just like positive affirmations and stuff too. Like I'll write down like, I will get a gold record. I will be happy. I will feel peaceful. And it's life stuff too. It's like I mix in obviously career goals, but it's like, I will meet the person I'm supposed to be with and stuff like that. I think it's just you're like putting it out in the universe.
Yeah, and then it's also like keeping you kind of focused.
Yeah.
Keeping you focused, because in this town and in this music life, it's important to have some. Obviously, be aware of what's going on around you, but have some blinders on and
So
be the
true.
best version of yourself, because your path is going to be different than another artist's path or another writer's path or something like that.
I know. It's so true. I feel like for me too, when you listen to, what's really popular, and then you look at your own music and you're like, oh, mine doesn't sound like that. But you're trying to be focused because they're doing their thing. They're really good at doing their own thing, and I'm good at doing my thing. So the time will come when my music, goes into that zone.
Yeah.
But to try to like, oh shoot, I should write this kind of song because it's doing really well. That kind of mentality gets a little crazy there.
And that's what's important about having a good team and having a producer like Zach, like
sure.
having a team like that, because I equate it to like when you watch horses kind of run around the track and they're grinding. They always wear those blinders on there. You need the job.
Exactly.
You need someone. You need the team that puts the blinders on and helps you with that. Because if you're in it by yourself, it is daunting as hell. It is
dark,
tough.
spirally.
Yeah, and every artist, every creator goes through that until they
sure.
have their team, until they have their family that's on the grind with them.
Oh my gosh. And I think too, like having people that encourage you, which is like so silly. I mean, I think we all deep inside are just kids that want to be told we're doing a good job. But like, whenever I feel like someone's doing, I don't know, whether I know them really well or not, or I'll see, on Instagram, like they post a song that's really great. I'm always intentional about reaching out to them and being like, that song is so good. And those little nudges in the right direction are so important, I think. And so having a team that's like, hey, this is your best song yet, or like this video turned out, I don't know, you need those cheerleaders in your corner to keep you going, because it can be really tough sometimes.
Cheerleaders, and also being honest with you.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
It's important to not have just yes men around you.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you get very far. You're just chasing
Yeah,
your own
right?
tail with that. I don't know.
There's plenty of folks out there just like, yeah, that's great. When deep inside they're kind of chattering and they're not. It's important to have that. So how did you go about kind of finding the team that you got around you right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think, carefully curated too. I mean, I think you're right. It's a combination of people that are enthusiastic. You do need your believers. I think that's huge. Like when deciding, what publisher you're going to go to or what label you're going to go to, it's like, who do I feel like knows me, trusts me, and is going to, do their job to help me achieve, my dreams. And I mean, Zach is a great example. He's so encouraging, and you're doing, like, there is no one else that inspires you more when you're doing a vocal. He's like, oh my gosh, it's so good. He's so encouraging, but he's also like, that no, I don't like that. So he wouldn't even reply to the song if he didn't like it. Like, he's also harsh at the same time, and that's the great combination that you need.
I call the no reply the Nashville no.
Yes.
That's like the,
Nashville
no. Yeah. We
I'm
get
like, just following up. Did you see this? I think it's cool. And then he'd be like, okay. But
yeah, you've gotten to work with some amazing folks too, as far as on the artist side, like Dustin, Jelly Roll, like the team, the family that you get to be a part of,
so cool,
label wise, and folks like that. What's all that been like?
It's been amazing. I mean, Jelly is so great and
what
so
an
encouraging.
Incredible human. Like,
he really is.
I want him to like run for office.
No,
one day.
honestly,
like he's. His shows are like you're at like a church service.
100%.
We go to a lot of festivals.
Yeah.
And he's happened to be at a lot of those festivals. And the way that he just impacts a crowd.
It's unlike anything.
Yeah.
It really is so cool. He is such a special guy because there's this feeling like he can't believe that he's here. This incredible humbleness that him and I feel like his wife has it too. They both look at each other. They're like, how is this happening?
How are we selling out Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, like how is this happening? And it's so palpable. And he walks in the venue and he's, high-fiving the security and like the venue staff. Like he's just that kind of guy. I think he's really grateful to be there. And people are attracted to that. Like when you feel like you made the right person famous, it's like that kind of feeling. But I mean, we played a show together this year in Detroit, and I sing background vocals on one of his songs, To Kill a Man, and he brought me up, and literally in the second verse he just talked about me. He was like, Madeline is incredible, and like, you guys are my fans, and like, you guys need to lift her up, and she's an incredible singer. Like, he just gave me my flowers in front of a crowd of people, and I've like never had that done before. And he's the real deal.
Yeah, there's so much of like bringing the next person up. Like someone reaches a level and then puts their hand down and says, "Hey, I'm gonna bring you up." And
huge.
He's one of those guys that does that. And there's so many guys and girls that do that, and that's such a huge part of this thing and this community.
For sure. I mean, it's so hard. So something like that, like, I'll never forget that, no matter what. So, definitely a mental note, like when I get to where I'm going, to make sure to do the same thing to other artists and stuff.
Yeah, it's just a culture. So when did you start? So you started coming here young, right?
Yeah. I started, I think I was like 15 or 16, started coming and writing songs, bad songs, of course. And then I would record them usually down here and then release them up to radio and stuff in Canada, and have a pretty cool career up in Canada.
Yeah, what does 16-year-old Madeline do? What are her thoughts in Nashville? Because that's going back. So doing some math in my head, you're what, 29, 30? Okay, so that's going back. That's what, 2011, 2012. So Nashville's just kind of booming.
Yeah,
at
totally,
that point,
for sure. I mean, it was all about the songs. It was all about writing my little bad song. Unfortunately, I've been doing this so long, putting up music so long, that some of these songs are still on the internet, which I'm like, this is so cringy.
Hey,
I wrote this at 17 about.
It's good to go back and see where you started to see where you're at. It's like it's a timeline, honestly.
It is. Yeah.
And the back catalog, those streams count too.
Okay.
People go back. Honestly.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes I'm like, oh, was I,
No, it's part of the story. It's part of your origin story. And the Canadian country scene is a place that has really, I think, the bridge from Canada to Nashville. I equate it to like Canada is like the new Texas. Yeah. To where Canadian country, the festivals that are up there, the love and the the power of Canadian country radio
Yeah.
supporting its homegrown artists is so huge. It's unlike anything else.
It really is. It was an incredible place to learn. And you're right, the festivals up there. And there's just so many rural parts of Canada. It's a thing. I mean, you don't maybe really think of it as being like that, but it's a ton of people that live that lifestyle that love this music.
Yeah. Letterkenny's real.
Yeah.
Trailer Park Boys is real. Schitt's Creek is real.
Yeah, exactly. It's all that stuff. So, but yeah, it was an incredible, and it is an incredible like industry to me. I feel very grateful to, have heard my song on the radio, and I was up at the CCMA Awards a few weeks ago, nominated for Female Arts of the Year, and get to perform and deal with like stressful situations and big festivals and all of those things to kind of like learn and then come down here and be a fresh face. But I've got like a ton of touring experience and own my own equipment, and I feel like it's been such a blessing. Yeah,
that's like we're tight with quite a few Canadians with Race Rowdy. Like we're really close with like Josh Ross, with Owen Riegling, with all different folks that come from that world. And it's like they might be considered like new in like the US or the Nashville scene, but you guys and girls have really like gotten your chops up from all the years of going to Alberta, going to Ontario, going to all the different places and playing Boots and Hearts is as big as any American festival.
It's huge. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an incredible place. And I think too, when any artist like goes up from the U.S. and plays up there, they'll tell you, they're like, they know what's going on.
Smith has personally told me, he's like, bro, there's no crowd like a Boots and Hearts crowd. He said that was one of the first moments on stage where he just cried because he was like, these folks know our songs too.
Songs, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty trippy when you go to a place you've never been before and people know your songs.
Yeah, have you had where have you had that? Have you gotten to do, like you said, Detroit with Jelly? Have you gotten to do a lot of touring here in the States?
Yeah, this summer was really my first year where we did kind of an even amount in both places, and it's so different. I'll go up to Canada and you're playing an hour set, and majority of those songs were on radio, and so they know the word. Then you play down here and they don't know them at all, so it's just like weird to do like one weekend here, one weekend there. It's a little Hannah Montana-ish, but but it's pretty crazy. Like I have a song, Girl Where He Grew Up, that had like a TikTok moment, and it's so crazy that at every show, and it's out in the world, like I released it on my last EP, but almost every show we play, like people know some of the words of that. Like you just see the little hints of it. So it's still, starting down here. And, but it's really cool to play for new crowds and feel like you get messages after being like, never heard of you before. You've got a fan in me, and just do, one fan at a time.
There's something about winning a crowd over.
Oh yeah. Especially acoustic too. It's just like you and a guitar player, and you're like, okay, how do I, get these people to pay attention?
Going to a merch table and meeting a guy or girl and making their night, making their week. Like
for sure.
They're going through something, and your acoustic set was a big moment for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're like, whatever it is, whatever song it is, they're like, I needed that, or yeah, it's so special. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, have you found a favorite part in the U.S. that you've gotten to go? Because there's so many like random places. I spent a lot of time out on the road doing like the tour manager thing back in the day.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to go to like Nebraska and Kansas and Oklahoma and South Dakota and all these random places.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many beautiful places too. We got to play Watershed, the Gorge. I mean, I was like, this is the most insane place I've ever been.
You just look out and see the abyss.
Yeah. So that was awesome. That was really just so gorgeous. We played some shows in Georgia, like South Georgia, which was really cool.
The Southeast does it a little different. The Southern crowd is like country music, like Mecca. For sure. Yeah, Detroit was really cool. We were just in Reno. We've done a few in Vegas and stuff too, which is like always Vegas, fun to do. Vegas,
it's a fun weekend.
I've never been to Vegas, but I think we're trying to go to NFR this year.
Yeah, you should.
And do some events out there during that. But I've heard Vegas is a spot you can only do like 2 or 3 days max. Like I hear Vegas is
a lot. Yeah, for sure.
We were talking about Red Door being like a black hole. Like Vegas kind of has that where you don't realize what time it is, and you're like, oh shit, I've been in here.
Oh, they're deliberately trying to make sure you don't know what time it is, for sure. Yeah. There's a really big country bar out there called Stoney's that a lot of people have played, and it's really cool. I mean, I remember the first time, you just don't like equate Vegas with country fans, and it was like they were line dancing, like it was so country. I was like, this is so awesome. You would never think of Vegas and like that, but country fans we're everywhere,
Yeah, we definitely are. We definitely are. What do you like doing when you're not doing music?
I like to be outside. I love to like hike and go swimming. I mean, I grew up with like a lot of lakes and just hiking and waterfalls and snowboarding and stuff. So I'm a very outdoorsy kind of gal, I guess. So I like to do that. I like to hang out with my friends, walk my dog. I don't know. It's sad. I feel like I should have more hobbies. I like to paint.
You like to paint? Okay.
I like to paint. I feel like with COVID, I was very like lost because I didn't do anything other than play music and think about what I was doing and write songs. And so when, touring kind of stopped, I was like, oh, who am I? I have no idea. And so that was the year of the painting and the year of being like, what else do I want to do?
Yeah, it was a time where everybody kind of got to take a breath and look in the mirror and figure out, who the hell am I?
Yeah, absolutely. And I started singing at literally age 6. Like I grew up, with music running in my family, so really hereditary in a lot of ways. And it's been, I think I'm jealous sometimes of the people that they're 20 years old. They're like, oh, I was in school for this and I picked up a guitar and realized I could sing and like now I'm super famous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, because I've just done it my whole life since I was teeny, that it's my identity. And so that's a really like dangerous place to have it all tied up together. And so with COVID, it was like, okay, you can't make music right now. What are you? And I had no idea. Yeah. I really was like, I still am figuring that out.
Yeah, everybody's path is different though,
For sure.
And social media is a big thing. And there were guys and girls that had to figure out how to play a show. Luckily, you knew how to play in front of people going back to being a kid, a very young kid.
Really, really young. Yeah, always. So, yeah, I'm definitely grateful for all of the experience and stuff. That's for sure.
What kind of songs were you singing at age 6? Is this like church stuff or what?
I sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow in my kindergarten talent show.
Wow.
Very cute.
Okay,
very,
we'll have to find
cute.
a video of that somewhere.
Yeah, I think it exists. Country music, I was obsessed with like Belty, Martina McBride, Broken Wing, this like very sad song about domestic violence. I was like 8 years old singing my heart out with it. All types of music, Disney songs, but I'd auditioned for commercials and musical theater and talent shows and whatever it was, competitions, and never won any of them.
But I'd say you're winning right now.
Yeah.
You look back, it's like
I know. I'm like, how did I just kept going, even though I'd get second place or I'd get cast in the chorus. Like I was never like the star. I was never like the one who everyone was like, oh, watch out for her. And I don't know, put a little chip on my shoulder, I guess, and I'm still here.
And that's a good thing to have because it keeps you hungry and it makes you appreciate the moments of having a deal, having these opportunities,
100%.
Getting to put out an EP with a label, like getting to do everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Makes you appreciate it.
It does.
Heck of a lot more.
Yeah, you can taste it for sure when you feel like you've grinded for a long time. And I'm really grateful. I always say like, I'm so grateful for this, but I really am, because it's like, I mean, you walk down Broadway, or I got home last night and I was at the airport and there's a girl singing. She's so good. She was incredible. And it's like, there's so many great singers and songwriters and artists in this town and across this country and around the world that will never get their songs heard. And so anytime I get the opportunity to put out an EP, like that is truly such a blessing. And I feel really grateful for it. And, to have a record deal, it's like, that is so like, that was the biggest thing. And some people, if they just got it right away, it might not really be able to taste how awesome and how special that is. But I was able to.
Yeah. So tell me about One House Down from The Girl Next Door. It sounds like this EP is coming from a very like vulnerable kind of place.
Yeah. I think especially that title and that like idea really hit me, because I'm like, I've always felt, one house down from the girl next door, and everybody's like growing up lives look look perfect and their families look perfect and mine wasn't, and always felt kind of like left of center. And so when I had that idea, I was like, playing with a couple different ways to write that song. And one of my co-writers, Emily Wiseman, was like, didn't you marry like the boy next door?
Emily is a monster writer.
She is one of the most gifted
insane
songwriters I have ever written with. Like, her brain is so beautiful in the way that she can tell her story and other people's stories. And yeah, she's awesome and a good friend. But yeah, she's like, didn't you like marry the boy next door? And I was like, kind of, yeah. And so it kind of started with that. And the whole EP is just kind of like stumbling and fumbling through life and love, and like knowing you're in the wrong place, but like, how do you get out of it? And how do you like leaving something that you're in and committing to that. And so you can just kind of follow the character through hardship and 2 steps forward and then 10 steps back kind of vibe. And then by the end of the EP, you end up with who you're supposed to be with, like I said, in the timing that's right, and kind of acceptance of like who you are, I guess.
Yeah, and again, that's the relatability
Yeah.
that girls and guys are going to relate to.
For sure.
Which is very, very powerful.
Yeah. There's like butterflies, like the symbolism of the album. I feel like there's a lot of evolution, and the project was written from this like part of my life that was one of the hardest, and then it ended up, there's just so much growth and like learning in that period. And when you're in it, it's really hard to tell. It just sucks the whole time. You're like, this is horrible. And then when you're out of it, you're able to look back on it and see what was happening, like what God was doing in that moment. And so,
growth.
The growth, yeah.
The growth is huge. Talk about this CMT Next Women of Country thing, dude.
Oh, so amazing. I mean, if you look at the classes before that were in that, it's pretty insane. Like or almost every female artist that, it's like Lainey was in it, and I think Kelsey was in it, and Ashley Cook was in it. So it's really cool to just be honored in that way. And what a great program to support women, and getting to go to the CMT Awards. That was so cool. And, walking a red carpet in Austin, it was just crazy. So grateful for CMT and Leslie and Stacy and all the people.
Yeah, and growing up like a big country music fan.
Of course,
you remember watching music videos, watching those old Toby Keith videos on CMT. I remember I was watching them.
Of course, between Reba or the Reba show being aired and music videos, and absolutely I would get ready and have just CMT going on in the background, doing my makeup, getting ready for school or whatever it was. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely very crazy. And this One House Down song, we're talking about like having Dustin Lynch on there. That's a big freaking deal. How did that all kind of come to be?
Yeah, so Broken Heart thing. Well, I had just sung background vocals on Dustin's record, and so I kind of like knew him, and we did actually like a CMT campfire thing together, and so I got his phone number, and when we got that song, it was, I don't know, it felt like very, it's, the song is really about fresh off a breakup and like not really knowing how to adjust to it, I guess, and it felt very honest and colorful, and needed an emotional voice, and Dustin has one of my favorite voices in town. There's so much like texture, and I don't know, I love his voice so much, so I texted him the song. It's like, would you want to sing this? And he said yes, and I think it just totally took it to the next level, and he's another just salt of the earth, incredible person.
And his live show,
so good.
Particularly, we saw him this past year at Country Concert up in Fort Laramie, Ohio, a big festival that we get to be a part of with Raised Rowdy. And he's like out in the crowd after the show. He's riding around in a side-by-side, like in the campground with everybody. Like he is just one of those guys that
he really is.
The live show is just incredible, and just bringing the party, but also 1 minute you're crying, the next minute you're raising a beer in the air, and you're forgetting about all the chaos that's going on.
For sure. He takes you on the whole journey with them. And he is one of the most positive people ever. Like, he walks in a room and he's so grateful and happy to be there and so excited to be with his band and playing the show tonight. And it's all real and genuine. Like, you can tell he was a kid that just loved to sing music and is just grateful this is his life. And that's, you feel that when you watch him play. Like, he really, really wants to be there tonight. And I think a crowd reacts to that.
Yeah. It's cool to get to watch, like, be with folks that you remember listening to. Like, I'm sure you remember listening to Cowboys and Angels, of course, and fucking all those songs.
I know. Like, it's insane. I was like, if you would have told Madeline like 3 years ago that I'd have his phone number, I could text him that song, like, I wouldn't have believed you. It's just crazy. You really need to like take a step back and look behind and be like, wow, I can't believe I'm, at this place. To be able to do that, to have Dustin Lynch on a song, that's just crazy.
Yeah. Have there been other like kind of like pinch me moments?
The CMT, that was such a cool thing because I just remember every year though that list of women coming out and then watching them, go on to be superstars and stuff. So that was a huge pinch me. The Opry thing is going to be crazy for sure. There's been a ton. I mean, I'm really Broken Heart thing's on Hot Country right now, which is so cool, which is like a big Spotify playlist. And so I'm like, that is an amazing, like, I feel like every like little thing I try to get as excited about that. But playing a show and there's a girl in the audience I've never been there for, and she's singing along to something. I'm like, how did you hear this song? Like, all that stuff is a pinch me moment.
Yeah. And that's like the power of the streaming thing, which obviously it's kind of like, it's weird to not be going to Walmart and buying CDs anymore.
Yeah.
Like we all grew up spending our allowance money going and getting a CD. Do you remember like the early CDs that you would?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, the Shania Up, I can like literally see it in my hand, like the cover with her with like the white tank top on, and going to the store and getting to hear those songs the first time, like through, you know, the CD player or the car speaker or whatever it was, or making mixed. I burnt a lot of CDs.
The burnt CDs.
Yeah.
That was one of my roles in high school. I was on the football team. Wasn't very good at the football thing, but I was the guy that would make the CD for like the weight room or like the pre-show mix and just burn so many CDs.
It's like the new aux cable. You're like
was,
the guy. Yeah.
It was like being on the aux and then getting to show your friends stuff that you think is cool.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it too.
My sister would make burnt CDs of like NSYNC and Destiny's Child and like all these like really cool pop songs too, and I would steal her CDs and like bring them to my friends and be like, look at this song too. And I'm like, you have to teach me how to do this. So it's so cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm grateful to have had that time to be able to go to the store and buy your favorite CD with your allowance. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like our generation got to do some stuff that that kids nowadays kind of miss out on.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you think about to have access to like every song ever at like a touch of a finger is so incredible.
Yeah, and
crazy. I mean, it just wasn't like that, you know, before. Yeah. So
it is wild, and it makes it easier to get your stuff out there.
Yeah, I know. It's like, or TikTok, for example. It's like, it's so saturated. I think there's like a bazillion TikToks posted like a second or something. A crazy statistic. And that's a huge way people are marketing their music and social media in general. It's like you have the ability to put to every single day. It's like the modern day putting posters up on a street. It's like every single day you have the opportunity to market your stuff, but also it's like a billion other people are all marketing their stuff. We're all in this like canyon screaming like, listen to my song, so it's like oversaturated, but it's also so opportunistic. So it's both at the same time.
Yeah, there's like pros and cons to it. I joke around that it's like being an artist or like trying to grow something. It reminds me of like the traffic of like as the city's growing. So it's kind of cool that like the parallel of like Nashville growing. Yeah, it's like there's a lot more cars getting off the exit that you need to get to for like success or whatever. Yeah, it's just there's a lot more fish swimming in the sea right now.
For sure, which is great because it's like now everyone has an opportunity. Some girl in her room across the country, can post a video on TikTok and it can blow up, and like her moment. Like she wouldn't have been able to do that unless she would have packed her bags in a U-Haul, moved to Nashville or whatever it is. So there's so many more opportunities, but it's like, crazy at the same time.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's like, there's so much music that comes out on like a Friday. Yeah. I think it's like there's like 27,000 or something. I forget exactly what the number is, but it's wild.
I know.
It's wild.
So how do you, other than put your blinders on, like you said, and just stick to what you're doing? Because it's like, it's just, you just have to believe in yourself and your voice and that your story, people care enough to listen to it and keep going. But that can feel really daunting for sure.
Yeah. And so much of it is like having your crew. Like we talked about the team before. We always talk about like your class when you kind of move to Nashville. Where it's kind of like your graduating class in a way. Who were some of the like early homies that you had, or like some of your like close friends that are also in the music world?
I mean, so many. It's so cool to like Tranny Anderson, songwriter, which is so great. Like I remember we've written tons of songs together and just being like, this girl is so flippin' talented. Like she is going to write the biggest song in the world, I swear. And then she does and writes, the Lainey Wilson. I mean, every like Lainey Wilson song it feels like. So she was the one that like just as a songwriter. Hannah Ellis is another one. Yeah. I remember writing with her when she like wasn't an artist and she was singing and I'm like, what do you mean you're not an artist? That's insane. Like, what are you talking about? And so, there's a bunch of us. And then coming from Canada too, I mean, Mackenzie Porter or Megan Patrick or two, where we all kind of came down here and you're like, okay, we're all doing this down here now. But like knowing and rooting for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And get, like you said, getting to see folks around you win as well. And it's like high tides raise all ships. And
absolutely.
And right now for you to be having like one of your moments, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right now when like we said, the barrier from Canada to Nashville, Canada to the US it's easier than it's ever been.
Yeah.
In a way, like it's the perfect timing.
I think so too. I mean, I think there's tons of benefits. I think also, when you're coming from a new country like Canada, there's a lot of different hoops you're jumping through, which just shows like the grit of all of those, whether it's Josh or Owen or Mackenzie or whoever it is. It's like, people don't know you have to get a visa. Okay, so you have to come into town. You can't stay there without a visa for longer than 6 months. So you need a job in 6 months. You need to get a publishing deal or somebody to believe in you enough to, put their name on the line to say like, I'm hiring this person to write songs or whatever it is. And you have no credit when you move. That you can't get a credit card. Like they're like, you don't exist here. You're an alien, So it's like, to buying a car, good luck. Getting an apartment, good luck. Like it's like all of these crazy things people don't even think about. So to be here takes another level of just exist in the country you were born in.
What was your 6-month job that you had?
Well, I mean, you can't get a job. I mean, no one will hire you because you're not a citizen.
So how'd you do it?
So you have to harass everyone who will to write songs with you, to listen. Please listen to my songs. Like I remember, ASCAP, BMI, please set me up with rights. And like I was like, I need to get a publishing deal. I need a company to sign and sign my visa. And ended up getting one kind of like in the nick of time with Deluge, which I'm really grateful for them. For sure. But I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I remember I bought my car and they weren't going to give, they're like, you don't exist here. So you have no credit. Like, we're not going to give you this car, finance this car. And I was like, my car had broken down. It had no turn signals. Like it was like an old Suzuki that I drove down here. It was so run down. And I'm like, no, dog, you don't understand. Like, I can't drive this car. And he was like, I mean, I can't. And he had a framed photo of his daughter on his table. And I said, sir, do you have a daughter? And he was like, yes. And I'm like,
play
please.
The daughter
no,
card.
I did
Good
play the daughter. I'm like,
call.
please. And so he's like, okay, but I have to give you like an 18% interest rate. I'm like, okay. So I paid like the most amount in interest ever for this car that's like mid at best. But I was so excited that I just got to, have a car and getting an apartment. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't think that those were real documents that I gave them. Like,
but it worked.
But you got to hustle, you got to do what you got to do.
You got to hustle. Yeah, we've actually helped with signing some of the 01 with the 01 visas with Raise Rowdy, where we've gotten hit up. We actually helped out.
I should have hit you guys up.
We helped out. I think we helped out with Owen, and I think Owen and Allie Walker.
There you go.
Some of the recent Canadian imports. Yeah. We helped out.
Write
we
some
were
letters
like,
and stuff.
Yeah, we were like, they're playing our events. They're playing our writers rounds, and that was enough.
Exactly. So it's like another whole added like layer. You're like, oh, to even exist here, you need to do all this work. You're like, okay, it's worth it.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is. And it's so important too, because you have this great scene in Canada where it's like you could have stayed up there and just kept doing your thing, but to get to a certain level, it's like you have to be on the field to play. Yeah, and sure. Nashville is that stadium that you walk into to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's like for me too. I was like, okay, I want to write amazing songs. Where do you go? And it was Nashville. Like, how do you just hit your your potential, when you think, if you're like, okay, I want to be, the best baseball player or whatever it is, you're like, what school do I need to go to play the best baseball or football or whatever it is that you love to do? It's like, you have to set yourself up and put yourself in the right position. And sometimes it's harder to get there than others, but you got to be willing to do it. And just to hear there's this mythical land, Nashville, where people write songs for a living. Like, what an insane concept.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. There's only a few places in the world where you can do it. And this one definitely is at the top.
Oh my gosh. And you go to some of these big writers' houses and their mansions with their pools and their cars. And you're like, wait, what? And they're like, I wrote, this song. And you're like, that's insane. It's like, it's this fraction of people that can like get to that level. But songs that are just like worldwide global hits, there's so much possibility with that, so it's inspiring.
Did you grow up, speaking of being on the field, did you grow up playing any sports?
I played soccer growing up, like into high school and stuff like that. And then I did dance and stuff, but I was mainly just interested in music. Yeah, I was in like a band in high school.
Oh, nice. What kind of band were you doing?
Well, we played not really very good. We played, events at school and like the prom and stuff. It'd be like I don't even think we had a name. I think we had like a joking name. Like Blondie and the Blokes, or like we had like a joke or something, but we'd play just covers. And then we had a couple like original songs that we would write like after school. I honestly don't think they were very good, but I was doing whatever
you could,
whatever I could just to get on stage,
to get on stage and be singing in front of people.
Yep,
that's the grind. That's
for
the
sure.
grind. What do you wish we had here in Nashville that you miss in Canada?
Great question.
So I know I think we're getting a Tim Hortons.
I was going to say Tim Hortons would be pretty cool.
I think Timmy's is coming.
I've heard that. Timmy's is great. I mean, there's this thing called an ice cap, which is just like a frozen coffee, which is just so yummy in the summertime. So I definitely miss that. Geez, I mean,
because we are a hockey city.
Yeah, I was going to say the hockey is there. Sushi, probably. I feel like the sushi where I'm from is top notch.
Yeah, you're West Coast. Yeah, you're right above Seattle.
By the ocean. Yeah. It's fresh, So here, the sushi, I'm like, I don't know.
We're a little landlocked here.
Yeah, a little landlocked. And I wish there was a little bit more mountains too.
Yeah, like you could go to Chattanooga or like some of those places. My roommate goes on like all those hikes and stuff.
Yeah,
he'll just disappear for a few days. I'm like, dude, where are you at? And he's like, I went on this hike. I'm like, okay, just go backpacking through East Tennessee.
It's beautiful though, like the Smoky Mountains and all that stuff is gorgeous. But I'm talking glaciers though. Like where I'm from is like where I would walk to school and I had these huge like I live next to what would be like a state park, like these huge mountains that had like snow capped all year round.
So did you have like moose and like mountain lions and bears and shit, or what? It's sounding like you're living like National Geographic kind of stuff. Describe that.
There was a lot of animals, a lot of bears for sure. We had like little baby bears would like climb in the trees like right outside my house, and I've seen a moose before, but not where I grew up. But like my elementary school was like we were like the cougars because there'd be cougars in the area, and then they'd be like, oh, kids can't come to school today. Like, there's a cougar, and they'll take a kid. A cougar is like, you don't want to mess around with that. So, but yeah, there's a lot of animals, lots of, nature for sure.
Lots of nature.
Mm-hmm.
BC.
Yeah.
British Columbia.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Is that the spot in Canada I need to go to, or should I be going to Ontario and like Toronto? Like I hear Toronto, Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal's really cool too. They're all very different and have different things depending on like what you want to do.
Like the provinces are like the states where everything's kind of a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. Montreal's it's all French speaking. You kind of feel like you're in Europe, which is like a whole other vibe. But then Toronto's like New York. Where I'm from is like kind of California vibes.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah. So you get to go beaches and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the warmest part of the country too.
Wow,
if that matters.
That does. I think that matters because Canada gets really freaking cold.
Yeah, it's up there for sure. Yeah.
It definitely is. Did you vacation in the States a lot?
Yeah, I have a lot of American family as well too, military actually, which is really cool. Kind of like North Dakota, Nebraska based. But yeah, we would go to California, go to Disneyland, or kind of just down there. I don't think we went anywhere else though. Maybe we went to Palm Springs one time, but yeah, kind of just stayed on that coast.
Nice.
Yeah, I only went to Florida once. Everyone I feel like goes to Florida here. So.
Yeah, I would do like it was like a rite of passage almost, the 15-hour car ride from New York to Florida.
Did you like grow up in New York?
Yeah, I grew up like 30 minutes outside the city.
That's so fun.
So and it's like I appreciate New York City more now that I'm away from it.
Totally.
Yeah, like a part of me was like, aside from like going to Yankee games and stuff, like, but then I look back and I'm like, I got to go to Broadway plays on field trips. Like, it's pretty wild.
Cool.
I
know. It's this weird anomaly where you really don't appreciate things when you're there or when you're in them, when you have them. It's very bizarre. Like you can't see it. Like even when I go home, I'm like the mountains it'll be a clear day and it's like everywhere you look are these huge mountains and I'm like, are you guys seeing this? And my family's like, girl, we see it every day. And I'm like, you don't understand. It's so amazing. And so I'm sure that's how, like, if you've got family still there, they're like, yeah, it's the city, whatever.
Yeah, it's the city, whatever.
To be that close to New York is epic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you gotten to go into New York City and stuff?
Yeah. I've been a few times. I love New York. Love. I could, in another life, live there for sure.
Yeah. It's wild. It's crazy. There's 9 million people on like a little block of islands.
It's just so alive. I don't know. There's just this incredible energy and everybody just, I don't know. It's like you're in a movie or something. It's got this really incredible spirit. I totally get why people, move from all over the country and world to live there. It's very, very special.
The food is what I miss the most.
The food is crazy. It's so good.
The Italian food. And I always say my mom makes it the best.
Yeah.
And I'm not even Italian, but I say I'm not Italian. I'm not Jewish, but I grew up in the culture. So like the bagels, the the pasta.
Oh, so good. I know
the
that
pizza.
I'm still hunting for a good Italian place here too, because I have
some
a
good
very.
ones.
Is there? Okay.
There's some good ones.
I've got a
There's
good.
penne-
I'm actually Italian, which is
You
weird.
are.
I feel like you should be Italian.
I know.
But I'm Italian.
I should be Italian. I got the little cross right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Penne pase is really good.
Okay. Oh wait, I have
the
them.
Nations.
They're
that's,
good.
That's pretty
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
You know when the old guy behind in like the kitchen area right there behind the counter, and you know he has like a heavy Italian accent. You know
it's about to be good.
Pretty legit.
Yeah.
And then there's one that I just went to, Tutti di Gio.
Okay.
Tutti di Gio. There's actually one here in Hermitage,
like
in this area, and then there's another one in Hendersonville.
Oh.
And I went with my girlfriend the other day in Hendersonville.
That's
She's
good.
like, we got to go to this place. And there was a line. It opened at noon.
Ooh, the line.
There was
That's
a
how
line.
You know
there was
it's
a
gonna
line
be
on that rainy day, like right as that storm was coming through last week. And it was like there was a line of people waiting. I'm like, this place is gonna be good. And it was some of the best Italian I've had.
Okay, I'll have to go.
Yeah, there's some spots. We got good food here. Not the best sushi, like you said.
Yeah. Oh, the food here is very good.
Some
for sure.
solid spots. Where are some of the spots you like hanging out at? Because you've been in town for a while now, so it's like you've done the downtown thing. You were a midtown girl. You've done that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do now?
I live in like the west side now, so there's not a ton. But I was gonna say Penny Plaza actually is really good. We've been there a few times. Let me see. I love Sunda downtown. There is some sushi, but it's all like very fancy. Like where I'm from, it's like you'd be like, oh, let's do something chill and get sushi and just get sushi and sit on the beach.
Yeah.
It was like a cheap, chill thing. Now it's like you gotta go fancy if you want sushi. But love that. Geez, what else? I mean, near me, there's not a ton over on the west side.
The Nations is up and coming though.
Yeah, we got 51st Deli, which is yummy. Solid. We have a new bagel spot that just opened too, Benji's Bagels.
Ooh,
10 out of 10
I gotta
stuff.
check that
It's
out.
really good. Yeah.
I gotta check that out for sure. And then you got Daddy's Dogs over there.
Daddy's Dogs, yeah.
Which that was the spot during COVID. I don't know if you remember. They were doing the concerts where they had the bands playing on the roof.
No way. I did not know that.
It was like
funny.
it was like one of those like drive up concerts, but everybody would just like bring their chairs and sit in like the parking lot and like the street across from Daddy's Dogs.
Yeah.
And they'd have bands just playing during COVID, like
That's
on
so
top
cute.
of the roof.
I love that. Yeah, I love living in the Nations. It's a great place, I feel like.
Yeah, it's a good
They're
spot.
always like doing fun
and it's
stuff.
up and coming, like Red Bicycle, solid.
Red Bicycle, solid. Yeah, good coffee for sure.
Yeah, very good coffee. There's a lot of good coffee here too, which is what I like.
I agree.
I think you need it with everybody grinding here. You need the
I have a
caffeine.
rule that like I think my sister came up with it because her partner is like very like he loves coffee so much, and their rule is like if the drive is longer than like 25 minutes, I think you have to get a coffee, and that's my new rule now.
Ooh, okay.
Because you're always like, well, should we get a coffee? My husband's like, ugh. It's like so out of the way, and I'm like, if it's longer than 25 minutes, we can get a coffee.
So you got a coffee today coming from the west side over to here.
Of course,
I was gonna say today's a coffee.
I feel like it's just you just need it. I just need it with me all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, when I was on the road, I used to get the Stoke, the cold brew coffee. That they sell. It's like in a big thing, and I would drink like a bottle, like the whole bottle, like in a day. Tour manager life while being sober. It's like you just caffeinate.
You got to
the hell up.
Wow, that's impressive. That's a lot.
What's your drink of choice when you're out?
Like at a bar?
Yeah, like you're at a bar. Yeah, like you're at a bar.
It depends. If I'm at a bar, I'm probably going something simple like tequila soda or vodka soda with lime or something. If I'm at like a restaurant, I like an espresso martini.
Ooh, okay.
Or I like a mule, like a Moscow mule. I love like anything ginger.
You and my girlfriend would get along very well.
Okay.
I know. I've ordered a lot of espresso martinis
there
in
you
my days, and I've never drank one.
Oh, they're delicious.
Yeah.
They're so good. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like, especially if you're getting like a cocktail, I'm like, I'm trying for it to be like yummy and fruity or something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, like we said, busy October.
Mm-hmm.
Has it sank in yet? All the craziness that's happening.
Man, it's tough. I feel like I'm like ready for it. I'm excited about it. Yeah, I mean, just especially the Opry too. It's gonna be really cool.
Do you know who else is playing with you that night?
Dustin's playing.
Oh, sick! That's perfect.
Yeah, I know. So we're gonna do our song, I think, for the first time ever, which is a little scary, but I think it's gonna be great. And then I think Jackson Dean is playing.
Oh,
awesome!
Love
yeah,
Jackson.
I saw his show this summer at a festival, and I was like, whew, he's amazing. He's so talented. So yeah, I'm just super excited. I feel like it'll just be a huge like check off, my, like I said, life bucket list, and feel like I'm accomplishing a big dream, and then just have this music out. I feel like I've had it for so long. I'm like ready for the world to have it too. And we've got like a short film that kind of comes with it.
Oh, sick.
Some new merch coming with it. And yeah, like I feel like the idea of like One House Down, the girl next door, is like a whole thing to me. It's like being proud of who you are and being imperfect is what makes you cool. And so I think that's the whole new vibe. It's like, you know, you didn't grow up that way, or like you don't feel good enough, but you're, you know, the way you are is what makes you awesome. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
What else is on the life list? I gotta know.
On the life
I gotta pry
list.
a little bit, or like the life, like you said, checking off some boxes. Like the LP's doing it, this EP's doing it. Like
For
where you're
sure.
at right now, you're checking off some boxes.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other like?
Red Rocks is a big one.
Ooh.
I want to play Red Rocks so bad. It looks so cool. I really want to go on like a big tour as well too. I've never really, like, I've always done like 6 weeks or like, but I want to do like a 3-month like full tour.
You just wanna go.
I want to go. I want to do the whole thing, because like, man, the learning that happens when you're on the road is just unlike anything. And I feel like it's just such an incredible way to really get a solid group of fans. And so I'm excited about that. I want to put out an album, like a full length album. It's a big one. I want to do a lot of traveling too. Personally, I feel like I've only traveled, you know, work-wise. And so like within these last couple of years, I'm like, I went to Costa Rica, I'm going to Hawaii, and I don't bring my guitar, and I'm going to go and then like experience the world a little bit. So I want to go to Europe, I want to go to Bali, I want to go to a couple of places. So those are on the life. I think I want to have a baby.
Hey, there you go.
That's on the life stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want to have a good combination, a good balance of like life and work, and write great songs that I'm proud of ultimately. I mean, it's so much out of my control, you know. All I can do is show up and do the work and work hard and write, like I said, my voice and my story, and hope people care enough to listen to it, and then live my life at the same time. That's all you can do.
That's awesome. Well, I'd say you're doing a pretty good job at this life thing now, and hard work pays off, and good things happen to good people.
Thank you.
Great things are happening to you, and it's a testament to you and what you're doing and everything that's going on. So
thank you.
I appreciate you coming on and hanging out
my gosh,
here too.
Of course.
And
thank you.
welcome to the. I don't think have we had you on a Raised Rowdy event? So
no.
We'll have to fix that at some point.
That.
We'll talk to the team over there and we'll make it happen. We do so many. We have so many things that we do here in town and whatever. But anything you ever need from us at Raised Rowdy, welcome to the family, sis. Our latest Canadian family member coming from the West Side.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you so much.
Of
So
course.
One House Down from the Girl Next Door, the EP coming out October 11th, Opry debut October 16th. Our girl Madeline Merlo, she has got it going on. Y'all be sure to check out Madeline. Visit raisedrowdy.com for more info on us. For my girl Madeline, I'm Matt Burrill. This has been Outside the Round.